Okay, what do we have here? No, ignore that engine. That's a MR2 motor, performance motor. More important is my GPW steering wheel. This is the original steering wheel, and it has this portion that's cracked, and we're going to try to fix it. So stand by and let's see how it works out. So we used this little wire wheel on the Dremel and tried to clean out the grooves a little bit to get old dirt and grease and grime out of there. So using this tool here, shaper there, I ground up a bunch of cuttings off of a piece of old steering wheel that was destroyed. So grind that up, and that will be used to make a paste. Okay, I got a little reducer that I use for painting. Just a typical urethane reducer. I believe you could use acetone or any other highly volatile, quick drying solvent, and muck it up and get it all to break down into a nice goo. Okay, so we filled all the joints. Had to smooth it out. I think we're going to let it cure. Okay, it settled in the groove a little bit as it cured, so I have a little indentation there, and I have one little air pocket here. Backside came out fairly well, but again it settled in the groove a little bit. I think capillary action sucked it in there a little bit. So I'm mixing up another batch here, and I'm going to top it off. So let it melt down until here it's still pretty liquid, so I'll keep working it until the volatiles get off and it has enough consistency to be able to stand up. And I might use a little bit of this runny stuff to fill the hole, but yep, it'll probably take about 5 or 10 more minutes for that reducer to volatilize off and thicken it up a little. Okay, even that last coat settled into the grooves, into the cracks a little bit. So I had to do another coat here, and I had some little tiny starter cracks there that we decided to fill in while we're at it. You can see it's been a couple hours now, and the plastic is still a little gooey there. It's just about perfect actually at this point in time, and you can reuse it. Just add a little more reducer, it melts it down, and you're good to go again. So we'll let this cure out, and maybe tomorrow I'll be able to sand it. Okay, so I first sanded it down with some 400 grit. And it sanded relatively easy. Now we're going to go switch to some 1000 grit wet and dry. See how that does. Okay, that's after the 1000 grit. without much effort. You can see a little color difference, and I think that's just the original plastic on the wheel oxidized. So we're going to polish her up, see what we can do. So I'm just doing a fast rub with a microfiber cloth. I tried the little polishing wheel on a Dremel, but it produces too much heat and cuts into the plastic. Okay, here's the finished product. A little bit of color difference there, but I think that's just because that's, you know, core of the plastic versus the oxidized mold plastic. But filled in pretty nicely, pretty smooth. And heck, let's see, this one had a couple of splits. You can't even tell. That actually came out really good. And this one worked out alright. So maybe a few days in the sunshine, the color contrast will go away. It's actually shows up a lot more with the light on it than when you take the light away. So I think it worked out okay. Okay, there she is, reinstalled. Little copper coat on the splines, and came out pretty good. There's the big one. You can see the color difference, but like I said, with the light from the camera really sets it out, but when the light's off of it, you can't hardly tell. So I'm happy. Here's the reducer I used, DT870. It's just a middle of the road reducer from PPG, but I think acetone would work. I wouldn't recommend using mineral spirits because I think it leaves too much oil.